Well, greetings and felicitations and happy holidays and all those good things to everyone. Wendy, how you doing?
How you doing? I'm
How you
doing well.
doing?
I'm doing well, baby. I'm doing well.
Fantastic. So it's good to see you as always.
And you, my love, and you.
Why, thank you. I don't say that to get the return compliment. I say it because I mean it.
Likewise, I always enjoy. It's been a really crazy busy today, and
It
I
has
was
been here too.
I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to make it, but here we are.
It's been a crazy day. Just it's moments, not moments, swaths, great swaths of time of absolute silence because I'm working, I'm concentrating, I'm designing, I'm graphicking,
Yep, yep.
and punctuated by phone calls and minor crises and fires to light and put out, and it was that way all the way up. I was on a conference call all the way up until just a few minutes ago. Um,
My
so
friend just
here we
asked,
are, in through
my
the
friend
mouth,
asking me for the link.
nose
She's like,
out through the mouth. So,
my
so
friend's just asking me for the link. She's like, "Where's the link for the show?" And I'm like, "Hang on a minute, I'll just send it to you because she can't
oh,
find
here
it."
we can do it right here. I can put it right into the link for the show
There
itself.
you
I've got a link to call in
Yes,
if
it's
anybody
the
wants to call
show.
in. And we generally save that toward the end, but we can do it during the show too if we feel the need to go there. So let me be the first to say to you in this forum, Merry Christmas. So
And thank you, my darling. Happy Christmas back to you. I mean, we're almost there, aren't we? We're almost there.
almost less than a week. Where's my mistletoe?
Yes, I'm afraid I have no mistletoe either.
Yeah,
There
shuck.
is nobody to kiss under the mistletoe here.
Mhm.
Nobody. I'm
There
just
it is. There it is.
sadly.
So you'll have to have a special delivery made.
That
So
would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be nice.
yes, that would be your. I was listening to a little bit of our last Christmas show, which would be about a year ago, and you were wishing for who's the Dutch actor? Is he Dutch or
Oh, you mean Alexander
that?
Skarsgård?
That's it. Because we were asking each other, well, what would you like under the tree
Yeah.
this year?
I'm still wishing for him.
What would
I'm.
you like under the tree? And you said Alexander Scarsdale or
I
something.
would love Alexander Skarsgård underneath my
Skarsgård.
tree.
And
He, yeah,
my response to you was, with our luck, I said, and your luck, I said, he'll show up, he'll be there. Santa will have brought him. You go, oh, glory, Santa has brought him, but he'll be there with his girlfriend.
yes.
Hi, you called? So,
Yeah, a girl can dream though, can't she? I mean,
yes, yes.
Nick, I've been really
Yeah.
good this year, Santa. Please send me something lovely in my stocking.
There you go. There you go. There it is. That's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show. Yeah,
So
that's
we
right.
wanted to talk today a bit about the magic of Christmas and maybe a bit of the magic of Christmas past, maybe a bit of the magic of Christmas and the history of it and what makes it magical. Last night, I did a program on the all the things that cause the blues in the holidays and Christmas, and 8 or 9 or 10 different things that we
Mm.
do. And they all pretty much come up with, and Niall had said here just before we started over in the chat room, he made mention of how it was kind of a, in the postmodern view of Christmas, it's associated strongly with remembrance, almost a PTSD version of then one we of then one the one we grew up with. And isn't that the kind of sad thing? Is
Yeah.
that Christmas this joyous, wonderful, celebratory time? And you've already hinted at it just by our conversational little quips back and forth. Oh, sorry, there's no mistletoe here this year. And,
No.
we say things like that and we don't think about how really heartrending that can be.
Yeah.
Just to make a statement like that because we're saying, I got nobody here to love on me or to love on. And it feels that way sometimes. And so is Nile right? Is Christmas and the remembrance of it and the recounting of the joyous celebratory times, is that something to do with the PTSD that we harbor, both positive and negative, that have to do with Christmas past?
Yes, it's certainly sad, isn't it? Because there is when we were young, there was a magic about Christmas, let's be honest.
Yes.
I mean, once it got to December, the advent calendars came out. You badgered your mum or dad about putting the tree up and having the
Mm-hmm.
chocolate on the tree. And I remember my brother and my sister and I, we all had our own Christmas tree in a little tiny Christmas tree, as well as the big one as well. And it was very, very important. And I didn't realize how much effort and stress it was on my poor mum, who literally saved all year to get the Christmas stocking up. And I think that certainly we've lost the magic in some ways.
Sure.
And yes, Niall is right, that Christmas has lost some of its innocence. And I think they always say Christmas is what you make it.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also be very hard to celebrate Christmas when you've had a difficult time.
Yes.
You've lost someone you love. You're alone. Money's not there. You've got to work through it. You're sick through it. Your family's not talking, or whatever the scenario is. Christmas can be really, really tired.
And there's the expectations we put on, not necessarily the expectations that somebody else has of us, but the expectations we have of ourselves. I always like to say I love Christmas and the holidays because I love having my family and my friends around me.
Yeah.
But then I build up my expectations. My expectations are, I want to do this. I want to accomplish that. I want to see this person and that person. I want to give this gift to somebody in particular. I have a particular focus on something I want to do. And then something doesn't work. A schedule doesn't jive. Somebody dies. Your money doesn't come in the way you thought it would. And all of a sudden your expectations are gone. And you say, are my expectations wrong? Have I really set wrong expectations? Wrong. And it's okay to say things are right and wrong, folks, by the way. People say, well, they're not wrong. It's just not. Well, sometimes they are. Maybe my expectations are set wrong. It's kind of like Mike Rowe says about, totally different topic, but the way he says about, what's the whole thing about job? Pursue your dreams and fulfill your goals when it comes to work. And he says, maybe sometimes we have to come to the realization that our dreams of the things we want to be kind of suck and we're no good at it. So we have to do something else. So maybe all expectations are that way. And we get
Christmas is, when Niall puts up a good point, is that, when you were young and we've become so desensitized, so jaded, so broken in so many ways that I think there's, you hear the Christmas carols start in probably October, November. You hear them start,
because it's commercial.
Yeah. And the Christmas chant and the Christmas TV movies are all playing, right? They're playing on from July onward, and I know so many people who say to me, I love a Christmas movie. It makes me feel, very nostalgic. And one thing I've always had a beef about with Christmas movies, the men are always good looking. They're this perfect good looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
His chiseled chin, he's looking great. He's trying to save his Christmas tree farm from breaking
and he's a farmer. Yeah, I haven't seen many chiseled farmers.
The ex-girlfriend works for a company that's trying to buy it out. And she's like, oh, I haven't seen you for so many years. Next thing you know, they're walking down the street, they're buying Christmas cookies together. And you watch it and you just think, when your life is so difficult yourself, and it's great to watch these kind of movies, but it can actually make you feel worse, or maybe it takes you to an escapism. I don't know, but I would say I think what's happened is, like, Halloween starts in July. You'll go to the shop and all the shops have got Halloween in July, and it's like, what? It's not even October and they start bringing it in July. So then you get to August middle of August, maybe beginning of September, all the Halloween stuff is on sale. It's now Christmas has come in. We don't have time to, I want to say stop and smell the roses, but we don't have time to enjoy anything anymore, because it's like, you know, you'll get to Boxing Day and they'll have Easter eggs in the
Right.
supermarkets, and
Hi,
it's
I'd
like,
like to
this is
exchange
what's
this
happening.
pair of socks. Well, we've replaced those Christmas
Yeah.
socks with the Easter eggs. Yes.
Yeah, and that's
It's
what's
the day
happening.
after
We are
Christmas.
losing it. We're losing the magic. And and I know it's all commercial and it's about making money and everything like that, but if they were to slow it down until you had to wait to November for all the Christmas stuff to come out, or, you know, it would make it different. So I
Right.
feel that today, like I've just been done a bit of Christmas shopping today, and it just feels so sad, because somewhere
Yeah.
along the line, along the way, whether we as adults start to look at it very differently, because I think kids still love some things about it. And the other thing about Christmas is, in England, it sucks. It doesn't snow. It bloody rains. If it doesn't rain, it's mild, or, you know, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like Christmas. We haven't had a white Christmas, I believe, 2008, between 2008,
We're
2000.
not going to have one this year. Here, we're in Wisconsin, Minnesota, which is traditionally the Great White North of the United States.
Yeah.
And we have snow usually Halloween or thereafter.
Yeah.
And hi, you got to stay over there. And this year we are going to be almost 50 degrees
I know.
on Christmas Eve,
I know.
which is fine with me. It
I
can
know.
stay warm, and 50 is not warm,
I
but
know.
it's not the normal 0 that we have. 0 to 50, you know, is the difference.
For me, I want to spend Christmas somewhere in a snowy log cabin in the mountains,
Yes.
and I'll be surrounded by snow. And I think that's probably why Canada is such an appeal to me, especially in the winter time.
Yes.
But literally, you know, I can't remember the lot. And also, the other thing about Christmas that makes it so difficult, as the years go past, Scotty, there are
Yes.
less people around our table. We
Yes.
lose family members, dear friends, you know,
Yes.
beloved pets. You know, we've lost them all, and so it gets smaller and smaller, and all of a sudden our mortality starts to really kick in, and we go, hang on a minute, they're all gone. You know, we're the ones that are next in line.
And what Niall has been referring to in some of his comments, a sideways look at it, is that it's not just the deaths that have caused the empty seats at the table.
Yeah.
It's the people who have the overwhelming attitude that everyone seems to have. If attitude's the right word, the operational feeling is that it doesn't matter that much anymore, and they go do their own thing. So even some of the people that were the normal people, the people that you nostalgically remember as always being there, have gone off to do their own thing. And it's not important anymore. Oh, we're gonna go on a trip this Christmas, and that's a great thing, a fun thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
However, some people miss them when they're gone. And so all of those things is that Niall has hit the nail on the head. And I think a lot of us has. It's the things that we have expectations, or we have dreams, or we cut things out. We do different things. Some things don't matter anymore. The things that matter don't matter anymore. Do you know what came to my mind? Have you seen the movie? And I've mentioned this on my show before. I don't know if you and I talked about this, but anybody listening, have you seen the movie Family Man with Nicolas Cage? It came out 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
He's a slick New York Stock Exchange type of businessman worth millions, and head of a company. And his past was that he had a woman he was in love with in college. He had an opportunity to go do something. She was going to be a lawyer and, working for civil rights and stuff. And he opted to not follow her. And he opted to stay and take this opportunity. And it grew his business life. And he became this wealthy mogul, living a good life, He wasn't unhappy, as far as you could tell, but he lost her in the process.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is about how an angel visits him. And the angel is the actor Don Cheadle, I think it was his name. And this was Nicolas Cage, by the way. And Angel says, I can give you a glimpse. And he wakes up the next morning and finds he's in the same time, but everything has changed. He married this woman. He has kids with her. And he is strangely displaced. He has no idea what he's doing, runs to his office in the city. Nobody knows him. He can't get in, et cetera, et cetera. And the whole of the movie unfolds after that. And he realizes, I don't want to, here's a spoiler, and this is the point I want to make. Through this whole process of this movie, he finds out he loves these kids. He loves this woman. He should not have turned his back. Mm-hmm. And then he gets this where he knows it's going to end. It's a glimpse.
Yeah.
The same effect that sent him there is starting. And he tries to stay awake all night so he doesn't fall asleep and wake up back where he was, because he doesn't want to lose his wife and family now. And it was so crazy. He wakes up. There he is. He's back in New York. He's the rich mogul. No family, no wife, no kids. And it's years later. Oh, it's the same time, but it's years after he left his girlfriend. And he had heard she was in town, and there's lots of plot twists, and he runs to see her as she's leaving at the airport. And it's interesting. It dredges up emotion because he's in the airport. She didn't experience what he experienced, this glimpse of them being married and having kids in a little house in the burbs. And as she's going to go get it, he said, I just wanted to see, I have this old thing of yours I wanted to drop off to you. That's why I'd called you. And he hands it to her. She says, well, thanks. And she's going to go get on her plane, and nothing's changing. And he follows her. This is filmed obviously before 9/11 because he was back at the concourse. And he's saying to her, and this is the point I want you to catch. She's going to get on that plane. He says, wait. He says, we have kids. He said, we have a beautiful life. We have a home in the suburbs. We have these things. And he's pleading with her, don't get on that plane. Sit and talk with me. And now that gives away a little bit of the plot and where it takes you. But the application, it came to my mind because the application is this, is that we have all these things that we have set our minds to. And then we get out there where we think we have them and we don't.
Yes.
And we look back to that past. It's like at Christmas, the PTSD that Niall speaks of. We look back and we have the nostalgia mixed with the PTSD. And we want to catch ourselves and say, wait, don't go that way. Do this.
Yes. Do
what's in your heart. Do what, and so on. And these are the things that, I have learned, and I don't always practice it because I'm becoming a crotchety old man. But the irreplaceable moments of time.
Yes.
You can't go back and change anything. All you can do is work with what you now have.
Yeah.
As it unfolds. And so we have to be mindful all the time of the irreplaceable moments of time.
I mean, Michelle writes some comments there that really hit home with me because she says true love is the most priceless treasure, the most rarest of all love that exists.
Very
Don't
true.
let something as precious as love pass you by. We're so busy working, earning, running around like headless chickens. Tomorrow I've got time for it. Tomorrow I'll do it. Next week I'll do it. None of us know how much time we have on this planet. What's the and it's like we're all running around like it. And I think that it comes home to you with Christmas. I mean,
It
Christmas, a
does.
lot of Christmas movies. There's one that always stood out for me was One Magic Christmas, and I think it's Mary Steenenberg. She plays a mum who's got no money. She's got all the kids, and she's always stressed. She's always angry, and the dad's trying to still hold everything together, like the belief of Christmas. And then he's a famous actor. I think it's Dean Stockwell, something like that. He's one of the angels that comes down to show her what life would be like if she did believe, and he tries to bring back the magic, and it goes to show that if she doesn't have her children, if something happens, and I think, why does it take something really bad to happen in life before we truly realize just what's important to us and how much we take for granted? Because you know what, work is going to be there, the shopping's going to be there, that housework is going to be there, but to actually have that time with someone, that's priceless. Now, you can't always do it all the time, I'm aware of that, but Christmas time, I think it's the time that you think no one should be alone. People are. Right. No one should feel homeless. There are people are walking the street, they're freezing cold, they got no home, some, for whatever reason. And I just think that, when you see these movies, none of these movies, apart from, as you say, with certain messages behind it. And I do think that when they do these movies with messages behind, is to actually tell us as human beings, don't forget that while you're doing this, like, as Michelle says, moments slip away. You can't, I've heard so many times people that with, who work so much, obviously, money, we all need money to pay the bills, is like, next time, we'll do it next time, or next week, or next month, or next Christmas, or whatever. How do you know? Like my uncle, he loved Christmas. He absolutely adored Christmas. And he was a massive kid. The tree had to come out, the lights in the window. He'd go out Christmas shopping, get his cards, all the food, all the good food would come in. He was really looking forward to it. He suddenly just dropped dead. And it was like, he didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Nobody was with him. And the Christmas that year was awful, because it was like, he should be here. And it's like Uncle Dave, you'll be thinking of Dave this year. And I will be thinking of Henry, because Henry would always open the presents. He would always rip all the presents open, and we think about those we truly love and have lost, and the ones that are left, that we still celebrate Christmas with. They're very, very precious. And I think these movies like Family Man, like One Magic Christmas, even Elf, let's look at Elf. Like, he's so busy working. He doesn't want to recognize his son. His son's trying to bring the magic of Christmas in. And it takes for his son to leave for him to go, but actually, I do believe you. And
right.
These movies are all there to tell us a message.
They are. And, I hate to just hail to pop culture, but pop culture is a bleeding of our souls into story form or movie form or song form. Mm-hmm. And so they speak the things that people won't just sit down and read a book about, missed opportunities or lost time or things like that. And so
Michelle makes some very good comments.
She does.
I've been reading that. I love that saying, says Steph, love doesn't pay your mortgage, get your meds, pay the bills. It's about trying to balance everything in this life between family and providing for family but working. It's true. I mean, without working hard, you don't have the money to put the food on the table, to pay the bills, to keep the wolf from the door, to put the clothes on the back of the children. It's a necessarily evil when none of us are really in a good position to actually say, oh, I'm just going to take this time off, and, none of us get the chance to do that.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't also, I think kids don't appreciate how tough it is for mum and dad
Yeah.
to get all their presents. And mum
Right.
and dad are thinking, well, how are we going to get this? They want this, they want that. How can we afford that? How can we get the food? It's all this stuff going on. So I think absolutely it is a worrying time, and kids, I mean, kids don't take that into consideration. My niece today, she rang up my sister and she's like, Mum, I need some money to buy some Christmas presents. And my sister's like, well, you know, I don't have that much, you'll have to ask your dad. So she said, how much do you want? And she said, £100. And so my sister said, well, you're gonna have to ring up your dad. So she said, oh, can you do it? So my sister rang up and he said, is that all they ring, you know, is that all you're ring out for, asking for the money? And you know, but obviously she wants to buy presents for people, but you do think to yourself, like, especially if your birthday is around Christmas as well, because her birthday, my niece's birthday, is 2 days after Christmas Day.
Oh boy.
And she loses it all in 1 year, you know, like Christmas, and then it's your birthday, and then it's just gone. And
Yeah.
you know, my mum used to wrap all our presents up with special paper, and she would say to us, if you stay up, you'll get nothing but a sack of coal. And I tell you what, 1 year my brother did stay up. He woke up
You
to a
got
sack
a sack of coal?
of coal. He never got any presents from Father Christmas, because we call it obviously
Wow.
Father Christmas. We never got any presents from Father Christmas at all. And Penny and I got ours, and he didn't get his. And I tell you what, next year, oh my God, he went to bed super early and didn't give anything like
6:30,
that.
I'm going to bed.
He was like, I'm going.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, you must know what that's like, because you have 3 children.
I do. I have
You're
6.
working hard.
Remember, I have
I mean,
6.
3 young children at home,
Yeah,
right?
3
3
young
young
ones.
children at home.
Now, the youngest, she just turned 9, which it was a few weeks ago. She said, I don't think Santa Claus is real. Now, some people would say you're irresponsible that you let a girl get to 9 years old and believe that Santa is real.
Not at all.
I said, no. I said, I have worked hard to maintain my children's innocence for as long as I can. And if part of that is teaching them a conspiracy theory, there is a man in a red suit that delivers presents and the whole world believes it, then I'll teach that to them.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. In the church, some of the people in the church had a big problem with that. Well, you're not teaching, then you're teaching them to equate God and Jesus with Santa. They're all imaginary, the purposes of Christmas. I said, no, not necessarily. But, you know, so they wouldn't teach their kids, they wouldn't let their kids believe that there was a Santa. So Ellery came to us. She asked us, Dad, and Rainey's sitting there too. She said, is there a Santa Claus? And she asked that of Rainey, and Rainey said, ask your dad. Dad can answer that for you. I looked at Rainey and I'm like, why did you just put that on me? And Dad, is there a Santa Claus? I said, well, what do you think? And it started a conversation. I said, think about the details. Do you think a man can do that? Do you think Santa could do that? Maybe he's more than a man. Maybe he's this, maybe he's that. Well, anyway, so she ended up coming out of that conversation. First thing she said, she called Grandma right afterwards. Grandma, Dad told me there's no Santa Claus. And I said, I didn't say that. And she was laughing. My 9-year-old was teasing me in front of Grandma. But she made the decision herself. There's no Santa. It's
my brother actually swore my sister to secretly, and he said, you know, my mum used to say, he exists if you believe in him. He you know, if you believe in him, then he absolutely exists. Everyone to their own. And I think it's interesting to look at the story of St. Nicholas, because, you know, everybody, he has the most common look of the red and white coat, very pagan colors and symbols, red and white. But it's Coca-Cola. Obviously, that's the modern day fairy tale of St. Nicholas. But actually, he was Santa Claus. He was born, I'm just reading some of this thing here, from the 3rd century in the village of Patara in Asia Minor. And at the time, the era was Greek and is now on the southern coast of Turkey. So since it goes way back, Saint Nicholas was actually a bishop, wasn't he? And he suffered for his faith. He was exiled. He was imprisoned. The prisons were so full of bishops, priests, and deacons. There was no room for the real criminals, murderers, thieves, and robbers. And he's literally, he's known to have done lots of wonderful good deeds in his lifetime. Tried to help so many people,
Right.
and with sickness, and help people with money, little bits of money and everything. But the truth is, he's been made a saint, who's now, looking at, I'm just reading here, it's like, is Saint Nicholas is a protector of children. Like if you look down, if you Google Saint Nicholas and you look at all the different stories and all the different backgrounds of this gentleman, it's a bit of this, it's a bit of that, and it's a bit of the other. And they've kind of, what you've got today is, he comes from the North Pole. He wears the red and white,
Right.
called Mrs. Claus. He has the elves with them. No one can see the North Pole. Well, what part of the pole can we actually not fly over? There actually is part of the North. Is it the South Pole or the North Pole we can't fly over?
Yeah. The ozone part?
We're not allowed to fly. No one. There is a written rule that no one's allowed to fly over part of. I think it's either the North or the South Pole for some particular reason. But yeah, when you read about him, and I mean, there's a lot to read about going into everything. Saint Nicholas says that, he saved his people from famine, so sparing the lives of the innocent. He did many kind and generous deeds in secret, expecting nothing in return. Within a century of his death, he was celebrated as a saint. And today he is now in the East as a wonder, a miracle worker, and in the West, a great patron of persons, children, mariners, bankers, pawnbrokers, scholars, orphans, laborers, travelers, merchants, judges, paupers, marriageable maidens, students, children, sailors, victims of judicial mistakes, etc., etc. He is known as the friend and protector of all those in trouble and in need. And you can see how it's gone from being one story, and then it's a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of the other, to where we are today with Father Christmas, Santa Claus,
Yep.
Santa. And obviously, like, the Victorians brought in quite a lot as well with the, Christmas has been incorporated by so much history. Yuletide was the original, as we were talking tonight, is the original Christmas history. If you were pagan, it was Yule. And it's the oldest winter solstice festival.
And there's quite a history to Yule.
There is.
I've got a bunch of stuff right up here about Yule that I think is
yes, you're doing the Yule and I'm doing the Victorians. Off you go.
Oh, do you want me to do some Yule here?
No, you do the Yule and I'm going to do the Victorians. You do the Yule.
All right. and there's a lot of us that know that Christmas and Yule, we talk about Yuletide. Let the Yuletide be, or gay, I think the word is, or something like that. Christmas and Yule are blended now, but they haven't always meant the same thing. And do you know one of the traditions for Yule was the boar's head was served up on a platter as the feast? The head of the boar. I don't think I'd eat the head of any animal, but it was the Yuletide celebration. Yule comes from the Old Norse Yol, and the Old English, I think it's just pronounced Yeohol or Geoyahol, something like that, which was a season of hunting after the harvest was done. And this fell in what we now call December. So it eventually became associated with the Christmas holiday as they started merging those things together. Historians, I think it was more the Roman Catholic Church, started merging the birth of Jesus with the pagan traditions. So they could, bzz, bloop, and reel them in,
Yeah.
And so they had to appeal to their pagan holidays. And the first recorded use of the noun Yuletide, according to Wikipedia, was 1475. And the Yuletide season lasted from the end of November to the beginning weeks of January, but the Feast of Yule lasted 3 days over the winter solstice, which is the 21st. Is it the 21st or the 22nd? 21st is the shortest day. That is the solstice, isn't it?
Yeah, 21st of December, yeah.
So, and 3 days after, the 24th to the 25th, fudge it a little bit. So there you go.
So
and Yule was also similar to Passover for the Jews in Jerusalem before the temple was destroyed in 70 AD by the Romans. And for Passover, the Jewish people would bring lambs, birds, other animals for sacrifice. And the blood would be offered on the altar, and the meat cooked for the Passover meal. And according to Norse historian and saga translator, Hollander was his name, Liam Hollander, every 9 years, Germanic or Norse farmers were compelled to come to the temple, hof, and make sacrifices and feasts over a prescribed period of time during the Yuletide. And Yule was celebrated in Germanic countries with animal sacrifices, where the sacrificed blood was then used to paint the altar and the temple posts and the supplicant himself as part of the ritual. And he was literally washed in the blood of the lamb.
That's right.
And this was followed by feasts and storytelling and drinking around a large communal fire. And it's described as a time of the greatest mirth and joy among men, according to the Grettis saga. And it was a time of oath making. Yule was time to make oaths. What do we do at New Year's? We make resolutions.
Resolutions, yeah.
Which are, as far as I'm concerned, resolutions. Maybe they had seriousness. Maybe this is part of the fact that we don't buy that stuff anymore. We don't buy into it. We don't do it. But there was a whole thing about making your oaths, making business deals.
Mm-hmm.
Marriages were brokered. The priest, the judge, the chieftain who was in charge of the hof wore a great gold ring around his neck, a torque. And the people who would swear on an oath laid their hands on this big torque, and they made a pledge in front of the witnesses. And just such a ring was found at an excavation of an 11th century chieftain's residence outside of Tiso, Denmark. And so there's a bunch of those. There's the most famous one is in Sweden. The same temple is mentioned in the Heimskringla by Snorri Sturluson.
Well done on that one, Scotty.
Thank you. And in Adam of Bremen's 11th century travel journal, and it's described as housing 3 statues and on 3 thrones, and one for Thor, one for Woden or Odin, and one for Friko or Freya. And there was a great gold chain around this building. It was draping from the gables that flashed in the sunlight. And this was a place where King Domalade was sacrificed in the autumn after 3 years of famine. Uppsala was the site where this king was sacrificed for the sake of his people, and prosperity returned. And the first, it's not good to be king. So, and the first day of Yule falls on the last day of autumn, and so on and so on, and it goes on and on. We got traditions. The Yule log. Now, some of us burn a Yule log at Christmas. I know friends that have done that. Pagan friends of mine.
A lot of people have the chocolate Yule log for their Christmas pudding. It's right. You guys have it. We have a chocolate Yule log. Do you guys have that out there?
We probably do. You can probably go buy one at the store. They've replaced the Halloween candy with the chocolate Yule logs at Walmart. Has anybody had the Yule goat? Thor was said to have a chariot that was pulled across the sky by 2 goat bucks. Yeah. During Yule, they would either bring gifts to well-behaved children, or they'd demand gifts on behalf of Thor. And over time, the Yulebak became Yultomte, who was a combination of the Yule goat, Santa Claus, Father Christmas, and who would bring gifts and drive a sleigh pulled by reindeer, not goats. You have the Yule ham. That's one of the traditions. We have turkey at Thanksgiving, and you have ham at Christmas. So
Or if you're in England, you have both at the
you
same
have both. That's
time.
right. And we've done both. You got mistletoe. Here you go. You and I were talking about mistletoe earlier.
Fertility,
All you're
pagan.
missing over there is the mistletoe.
Yeah.
And mistletoe was greatly revered by the ancient Druids. And the Norse people believed it was magical. It stayed green all year round, even though the host tree would drop its leaves and look dead. And it drew in nutrients without any roots in the earth. It was always found high up in the oak and apple trees. And if found in a sacred oak tree, it was cut down with a gold sickle during a special ceremony, caught in a white cloak before it hit the ground. And then the magical mistletoe was divided and a piece was given to every home in the village to ward off evil for the next year. And all we do is make out under it. Thus, hanging mistletoe over the door became a New Year's tradition,
Yeah.
according to legend and history. And kissing under the mistletoe is related to Frigga, also known as Freya. And the Norse goddess of love
It's
was
seen
was
as
Frigga.
fertility. Mistletoe. It's fertility. It's like they used to have it in their they got married, like their headdress. And they actually, although it's poisonous, they actually pagans used to use mistletoe. They used to feed it to people as well. The pagans were a bit bloodthirsty, weren't they?
Yeah. They got around and they did stuff that you look at now and you go, oh, dude.
Yeah.
How can you do that? So, yeah, these are some of the traditions we got. Oh, wait, there's more on mistletoe. The Norse goddess of love, Frigga, had 2 sons, one of which was blind. The evil figure of Loki, or Loki, however you want to say it, made an arrow out of mistletoe wood and shot Frigga's blind son with the mistletoe arrow. The blind son died, and the goddess's tears became the mistletoe's white berries. When Frigga's blind son came back to life later, the Nordic goddess decided to turn mistletoes in Scandinavia into a symbol of love and fertility. So, requiring a kiss between humans meeting beneath the mistletoe. So, it's not just a tradition, it is actually a requirement. You meet under the mistletoe and you got to kiss.
You got to kiss. If there's mistletoe, you have to kiss.
There it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got any mistletoe?
Not here.
It's not here either, frankly.
People don't buy it as much because it is poisonous, and if you have
Yep.
animals something or children and it drops or whatever, right, then but I remember when we were young, my parents would get some mistletoe and put it up somewhere in the house. But now, I saw someone selling some today and I thought, wouldn't that be great just to, you used to like carry it around, you'd carry it around and you'd be like, give us a kiss, like
Yep.
that was the thing. We didn't do that. We've missed out on some things like that, don't we?
I think so. I think we have.
What a great tradition.
Yes. And, if it's poisonous, I wonder if the same rules would apply for artificial mistletoe. The good stuff.
Not the same though, is it? You
expensive
want the poisonous stuff, the real thing,
fabric
right?
ones. Yeah. There's got to be poison in it. If there's
Yeah.
going to be a kiss and an exchange and the possibility of fertility and romance and love and all that mushy stuff, there's got to be the risk of the poison.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it interesting when you're talking about the blood that they shed, the red of the land, and then it obviously back in pagan times, the seasons were very, very different to what they are now. So our winters were snowy and they were very, very cold. But you had the blood that the blood that they're shedding and the white of the land, that red and white again, that red and white, very pagan colours. Same as barbers. Barbers have that red and white.
Yeah, the red and white pole.
It's those 2 colours keep coming in to mind for sure.
Yes,
the pagan stuff.
And wasn't the pole? Wasn't that signifying blood?
Yes, And also like with the barbers with the red and white, it's like they used to do operations. People would take them to the barbers to fix them, or if they needed something cut off or whatever, which is where the red and white comes from. But interesting that Santa Claus has the red and white outfit, which obviously people think is Coca-Cola, but that just comes into, again, it's a very fertility color. Mistletoe, red and white and green. And the three colors that people see at Christmas is, I think, it's green, white, and red. I mean, obviously they put gold.
Green and red seem to be the main colors of Christmas, and then white, of course, to signify. Some would say to signify snow or purity. We always saw it as snow up here, so in the snowy regions. So that is. There's probably more stuff on that's Yule in light. Yule light is what I just gave you. And so those traditions we started to incorporate in when right around the 2nd or 3rd centuries. It was the Orthodox Christian Church, what became the literalist Orthodox Church, that became the Roman Catholic Church in the late 200s, early 300s. They're the ones that started establishing the really usurping of holidays in order to win the local folk, the pagan folk, over. And so they started incorporating all these things into the church. How many old cathedrals do you walk into and you see images carved into the headers and the cortices and things like that of the Green Man and different pagan entities, God entities, and some they're right there in the churches. So that's what they did. They incorporated it all in.
We were talking this afternoon about Halloween, because Halloween seen or Samhain, All Hallows Eve, was seen as the last day of the year, and it was the night that the dead could walk, and the veil was thin, and they would put they would put turnips outside. But when Yule was celebrated, they would bring in like a small tree or a branch or something in. They would bring something in, and they would put little presents and gifts on to say thank you, celebration. And that's the early sort of Christmas tree, if you want to look at it there. But it's interesting looking at the Victorian times. That's really when Christmas changed with the Victorians, because that's when it took a completely different shape. Queen Victoria and her husband Prince Albert, with their 9 children, Christmas was big to
Prince Albert.
Yes, he was from Germany, and he actually popularized bringing a Christmas tree into the home, because that's what they did in Germany. So he brought a tree into Windsor or Castle or Sandringham or whatever in 1840, and it kind of caught on. Oh, the king and queen have got the Christmas tree, we have to get like a Christmas tree in. And obviously he did it with lights and presents. I mean, back then it would have been small candles with a clip that you would put onto the which are, growing up, I still remember those little candles. And it was Victorian children's presents in the day were quite modest. I mean, everybody remembers when you get your Christmas stocking, you look down at the bottom and there it is, the orange, the nuts, and you think, oh God, really? They've really put it in here again.
Oh, right.
Where it came from, the Victorians would put
That's when I was a little kid, and my Ukrainian stepfather used to take us to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Especially there was always something really special. It wasn't a kids show at all, but there was something special about going on Christmas Eve to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. It was dark and there were candles and statues and singing and all of this. But we would get bags. They had little bags for the kids. And the bags always had oranges, nuts.
No, what is it? It's like, you get to bottom stock and you're like, oh God. And that's where it came, because Victorians believed that children's presents should be modest. And therefore, they used to give them sweets, nuts, and oranges. And obviously, today's kids are looking for a new toy, a new phone or whatever. Boxing Day, of course, everyone talks about Boxing Day. We were talking about it this
Right.
afternoon. And that comes around from when people would go around with a Christmas box, and it would be to give a tip to the servants and tradesmen. And it was left out until the 26th of December, called Boxing Day. So therefore, that's where Boxing Day comes from. Also, Christmas crackers, Christmas cards, eating turkey instead of goose, and even Christmas pudding, and even Santa Claus and his reindeer all come from the Victorian era. Most Victorian families went to church at Christmas, and the words, if not always the tunes, of many popular carols, including Good King Wenceslas, Once in Royal David City, and O Come All Ye Faithful, are all Victorian.
Yes, they are.
And the richer people would give gifts or Christmas dinners for poorer neighbours, which is a tradition promoted by Charles Dickens in 1843, A Christmas Carol, Scrooge, where he goes and buys Bob Cratchit and his wife's the biggest turkey from the butchers around the corner. So I think that when we start looking into things like this, and I will check out the holly and the holly that Steph's brought up, the Victorians change it. Because if you think of Scrooge, there's another story about a man who had he was an unhappy child. He loved working for Mr. Tiggy Winkle or something like that. Mr. Was that the one
Who he worked for?
Yeah, when he was younger, Mr. I'm sure it was Mr. Tiggywinkle, and then
Tallywhassle or something.
He was
Tallywhinkle.
engaged to be married, but he absolutely became a workaholic. And you see that very important scene in Scrooge where she gets her engagement ring and she takes it off and she drops it on the scales, and the money is higher than her ring. She goes there, and you see that when Scrooge becomes a very miserable, cynical, jaded person, and becomes one of these, nothing matters to him apart from money, and even putting coal on the fire and everything like that. And I think that's why Charles Dickens, he wanted to write a ghost story for Christmas, but he also wanted to put the messages of Christmas, and because when he was visited by the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, obviously future being the most scary, if you don't change your ways, if you don't see that you need to stop what you're doing, you're going to die, and you're not going to, and everyone's going to be really happy that you're dead because you've left nothing behind. And I think the story with that is the greatest legacy we leave behind is not how much money we earned, it's what we did as a person and how we helped our fellow man.
Well, and that's what we have ascribed to it. Even the best atheist out there who would claim that there is no Jesus, there is no God, there is nothing to Christmas, nothing to Easter, nothing there at all, they still will all, and this is a point I made the other day, they still all say, we're here, we're meant to do this, or we're meant to do this. Maybe we weren't meant to worship gods. And I thought, meant. You keep saying that. When you say we were meant to do or not do something, you're implying that there was something that set something in motion. To say that we were meant to do this, it was set in motion to do this. So I take what you just said, and it's the same way. We look at this stuff and we want to ascribe whether or not there is truth to something or goodness to something, or I will do this and it will be good for me. It will bring me good karma. It will do whatever I need done. And I'm reminded, was it you and I that talked about this? Again, pop culture, the animated Hunchback of Notre Dame with Esmeralda, the singing, where it's got the people and she's singing, God help the outcast, children of God. And she's singing, and the people around her are singing. They're praying. I ask for wealth. I ask for fame. I ask for glory to fall on my name. I ask for love I can possess. I ask for God in his mercy to bless me. And then she comes in and she says, I ask for nothing. I can get by. I know that there are so many people less lucky than I. God help your children, the poor and downtrodden, uh, uh, and however the lyrics go on that. And I think we're caught up, especially in the holidays, of doing the things that we think are the things that need to be done, believing the things that we're supposed to believe.
Yeah.
Are there things we should believe? That brings the question: should we be believing something? Is it passé? Is it passé because it doesn't really exist? Or is it passé and become obsolete because we've made it obsolete?
Well, I think it's better to
What's
believe
the
in
truth?
something than nothing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, why are so many Christmas movies, Miracle on 34th Street, A
Yep.
Wonderful Life, why is it always about people not actually realizing what they've got in their life and how
Right.
important they are? And I think, if anything,
Everything comes back to that.
I would say like this Scrooge with Albert Finney, who played Scrooge, is absolutely amazing film, and I always watch it every Christmas. It makes me cry. And you see, and I believe that what's his name? Oh, Picard, Patrick Stewart. He
Yes.
played him as well, and he did a very good version of it. And to me, it's like Christmas movies, and even Scrooged that Steph brought up with Bill Murray in.
I watched that recently with the kids,
Yeah,
and I realized I watched for the first time in maybe 30 years.
yeah,
And I looked at that and went, wow, this is really a cheap, dumb movie.
yeah.
And it didn't have the same impact it did 30 years ago when I saw it.
But they've all got that
So,
message behind it, Scotty, which
yes,
is like it's
they
not
do.
all about money, and but I mean those all those movies about people that work too hard, don't see don't see their children. It's like there's so yes, I have seen it at the remake, Steph.
You're talking
And
about the animated one, Steph?
there's a new one as well out. Was it something like did Will Ferrell in it, the new one as well. I
Oh,
think it had Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds in it. I think that's the new one. It came out
oh,
last year, I
I
believe.
don't think I saw that.
I mean, Scotty, I said this to you last year, and I'm going to say it to you again.
All right.
What would you like for Christmas?
Oh, why are you asking me that?
I'm going to ask you it every year.
I don't know what I'd like for Christmas. There are, I have things I wouldn't share publicly. Um, and I have to break them down and say, I want this thing, but that's so materialistic. Or I want this thing, and that's so forbidden. Or I want this or that or the other thing. Um, and it all is prefaced by I want. So I could be esoteric and say, I want peace on earth. But that would be a lie. I really don't care about it. If I had a genie that came to me that was Santa Claus, okay, but the genie says, you have 3 wishes or maybe just one. What do you want? What will you use your wish on? Will it be for peace on earth? Probably not. I can honestly say it would probably be for something selfish. So what do I want for Christmas? What's the one thing I would want? I don't know. Because I don't think in those terms. Despite having a lot of things I would love to have, they're not really the material things. There's things I would want that are the the stuff. And stuff you can buy. You can earn it, you can make it, you can get it somehow. Steal it if you had to. Stuff isn't about where it's at. I want the things you can't get normally. So the thing I would want is the thing I want the most, but have no way of getting. That's the wish that's out there. Um, uh,
Every year I ask you that, and you always say similar to me, and
I
it's
I
frustrating.
wish for Santa's freedom. There you go. Go ahead. What now? Yeah, it's the same thing every year, isn't it? Because I don't have a thing. There's not a thing. And how about you?
Mm. Well, yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I'd like something that's gone and is never going to come back. Uh,
Right.
and that's the people that I've loved and lost, including my dog, my Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
do anything to have him back and spend Christmas with. I would, I don't know, to find true love and happiness, and
Yeah.
to start again somewhere else and have new adventures and good health for all my loved ones. Of course, that's the things I think I would truly like. It's not, I mean, yes, we'd all like the gadgets and other bits and bobs, but I
Sure.
think that for me, love has been missing out of my life for quite a long time, and I would truly like to find it. And I know my mum keeps saying to me, I can't leave the planet until you've settled down and you're happy, Wendy. So
Right.
I think it might be make her Christmas too.
Maybe I'd wish for $100 billion. You can buy just about anything you want.
Yeah.
You could have all the stuff you wanted, that materialistic category. You could work on bettering yourself because you don't have to work for a living. You work on maybe bettering yourself, buying the better foods, going to the gym because you can afford a gym or a trainer now. You could hire a full-time trainer so you could get in shape. You don't have to wish for being turned in shape. You would do it. You could hire somebody to do that. You could start a business and help 100 people
Yeah.
make good livings. You could buy that woman you love or that man you love. Yeah, we both. I'm saying that tongue in cheek because you can't buy love. I get that,
Mhm.
but you could set yourself up to be a person that would perhaps make yourself appealing to somebody that you want.
I think for me,
Um,
actually, the
money.
Steph said, Tracy says you're not allowed to move away. She'll kill me if I do. Most of all, I'd like to believe again because I've lost my faith and belief in various things in my life. One would be love, one would be
Yeah.
people, and my faith has also been tested. I think Christmas is all about when you're young, believing and having that innocence and believing. And I would do anything to have that belief again because
Let
I've
me
tried.
ask you.
It's gone.
Let me ask you. If you could for ask for, or know it would be granted if you asked, to take away my pains and my misdeeds and my mistakes and my misperceptions and the things that made me sad so I can be happy. So give me the happiness I'm missing, or give me the fulfilled thing that has left me unfulfilled. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that done for me. Um, I would think, and I'm asking you, but I'm also answering for you, I think to a certain extent, but you can butt in anytime you want and tell me. I would think that you would feel like I don't want somebody to do that for me. I want to have the atmosphere in my life where I can create that and make that happen. I don't want somebody to give me something. I want to be able to make something and give to somebody else and myself at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's many of us say, oh, I wish God would do this, or Santa would do this, or a genie's bottle would wash up in my backyard and I could get those 3 wishes. But would the things we wish for be the things that would satisfy us? Because there are things that we have to learn through all the mistakes and all the troubles and all the problems and all the death and all the
100% agree. I mean, at the end of the day, everything we've been through has made us who we are.
yeah.
And I absolutely, I think I'm in a much better place than I was many years ago when because everything I've been through. But at the same time, I would like to have my I'd like to have my belief and faith back. And the thing is, life makes you. We start as we end. We start with that thing. Christmas has become jaded. We've become jaded as human beings. We have become jaded as human beings. Not 100% all of us, but so many of us have become jaded. We don't believe anymore. We want proof. We want things shown to us. We want it now. We don't want to wait for it. Or we've been hurt so much that we just don't believe, when there's actually something, someone genuine in front of us. We're like, really, and that's what's happened, and the same with Christmas. It's become, as everyone's been put down here, commercialized. It's become jaded. It's not special, and it should be. We should still strive to keep something special, because life is so difficult, and I know this Christmas is going to be incredibly difficult for me, and I'm not even feeling Christmassy, but you do what you can for everybody else. You do, like you with Uncle Dave. There's someone missing. So I would say to everybody, whoever's in your life right now, you never know how long you've got with them. Hold them close to you. Tell them you love them, and moment with them.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. I didn't mean to break your pacing there. And you're saying another angle on that same thing you just said about if there's somebody you love and you're with them, you tell them, you let them know. What about those of you who are out there who might be wishing for someone?
Yes.
Or wishing for a particular person? Or wishing for something to happen that's not happening? Might it take you being the one to step in and say something? Open your mouth. Bring it to the fore. Make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, then maybe it wasn't supposed to happen. You can move on after that. But don't be stunted by the things that you can't say and the things you can't ask. My faith and belief in the divine plan has never been stronger, says Michelle Canham-Free over in the chat room.
I actually saw a message on a friend of mine's page about 2024, and he was saying, I'm not looking forward to 2024. I think there's going to be a shit show. I think things are going to be shown to us stronger than they were in 2023. And, because, everyone talks about as time goes on, and you just think to yourself, blimey, we're already jaded about the new year before it even happens. Because we all get to the new year and go, here we are. Let's bring on.
We're all
shit.
So used to broken promises,
absolutely,
lies,
spot on,
and
let
deceit,
down,
and let down,
disappointment,
and shattered expectations.
Yep.
Unfulfilled dreams.
What if
What is it about now, in particular, in this day and age, that has put us in a place that's the way we are? Is it a generational thing that has caught up to us finally? Is it a realization that maybe it's the internet and social media that have given us more insight into how people think and act than ever before? Maybe it's the having so many. Think of living 200 years ago and what your dreams might have been, the places you want to see and things you want to do and so on. That hasn't changed much, except now we can do that all virtually. We're bombarded every day with the things we would love to do and see and experience. And suddenly what was, I think, a small bubble, these are my dreams and my expectations. Now it's an enormous bubble. These are my dreams and expectations. And I think our letdown is greater um, when we don't have the ability to fulfill the huge amount of things that are on our list now, compared to, say, a simpler time
Mm.
when things were easy. My
I,
son Sam, who
mm,
is 22, just about 22, wrote me this afternoon and said, "I wish I lived in a simpler time."
yes.
And um, he got kind of fired. He walked off of a job today. Kind of fired, kind of walked off. It was his second job. He said, and this is indicative of our times, a woman around 60 who is transgender, who they didn't even know was transgender. Um, he was working at a Quick Trip, a gas station market, and this woman works in the kitchen, and she said something to Sam like this or that or the other thing. He said, "Yes, ma'am." And this woman threw an unholy fit because he used the pronoun ma'am. And he said, "I didn't even know." And she went on. She was throwing things and ranting and raging. And she had the manager. She sicked the manager on Sam. And Sam was like, the manager starts talking to him. You got to watch the things you say. And he's like, why would you hire somebody like that?
Mm.
And the manager looked at him like, what, transgender? And he says, no. He says, what if somebody called me married when I was unmarried, and I started throwing all the stuff in the store around
Really?
and was raging at that person? I said, you'd can me on the spot, but you won't fire this person. I'll bet you anything, because of the politics of it. And he said, so I'm done. And he walked out. And I said, well, Sam, good for you. It was a second job, but he that's where he wrote me afterwards. He says, I wish we lived in simpler times where things were, yes, we all rise to the occasion. Our difficulties in life rise to the occasion. I'm sure 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, when all you had to do was, go out and dig your mud pit and make your mud cakes and sell your mud cakes on the ox cart, and then go home and build a fire and eat your mud cakes, and all for a shilling or two a year, and you survived. I'm sure they had just as many problems as we have, just of a different nature.
I think I just wanted to pick up on Michelle's comment, because she says, if you're disillusioned, you'll get more experiences that affirm and deepen your disillusionment. I used to be one of the most positive people. I would
I know.
massive law of attraction. I
I
did
know.
law of attraction. I taught law of attraction, and I believed. And I used to hate, it's going to happen. It's positive. It's all good. And then things, yes, things did happen. Things did align. In a lot of things aligned in that way. But then life got shitty.
Yeah.
People got sick, people died, money was really, really tough going. No matter how positive I was, no matter how much you believe, no matter how much you visualize and you do the vision boards and you do all that, sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Right.
And it's like, you can be as positive as you want and see everything. Life is hard. And I think that as I said, my mum used to say to me, Wendy, you're always so positive, you're always glass is half full. And it's true. Life is for living, and the glass is half full, but it's also very, very hard going as well. Very
Yes.
hard going, and it can be hard to have that positive attitude. It really can.
And those are the spiritual tests, says Michelle Cannon-Free. Adam N says, live for the now. Make your own life perfect. Forget the rest of the world. The true meaning of life is to give your own life meaning. Now, I would only modify to say you can't forget, like I have kids. I have a wife. I can't forget them
No.
as I'm trying to make my life perfect for me. I get where you're going with that, Adam. I don't think that's what you meant. But I have a better saying that I like to adhere to. All my listeners know it. You've heard me say it. Everybody's heard me say it 100 times. Mark Twain said, 20 years from now,
Yes.
you'll regret more the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So cast off from the safe harbor. Set your sails to the trade winds, explore, dream, discover. And so I think life is meant to be lived. It's meant to, yes, focus on what you're supposed to do, what you can do. Don't let anything keep you from doing. We have so many excuses as to why we don't do those things and the things we want to do, when all it takes is just setting your mind to doing them. So, Adam, you're right. And Michelle Cannon-Free, you're right. Niall, you're right. Well, listen, I can't stick around too long tonight, and we're technically in the after show. I got to get out of here in a few minutes, Wendy. But I noticed we do have Niall just came in, and I think Michael was here before he's gone.
Just before you go, Scotty, I just wanted to wish Wendy a happy Christmas. It's not very often I jump onto your shows, but it's always a pleasure to see Wendy. And you know, as you know, I'm Irish and you're English, so there is a connection there. So, and I didn't want this show to be kind of depressing, but it is a kind of a wake up call in a way, as regards what Christmas means these days. We can't be foolish about these things anymore.
Yeah.
Everything has kind of changed now, even for the very young. You still have young children, Scotty. You know how they change how they view the world, and the innocence is slowly getting eroded. And you mentioned something about Wendy, about the old movies. All of a sudden, those old movies are much more important than they used to be.
Yeah,
they used to be extremely corny, and oh my God, you know, those movies that used to come on Christmas Day, you just flick over because they're so corny and cheesy, and everyone's dressed in the suits and everyone's looking really clean, and you know, and the story is really harmless. But now all of a sudden, those movies tend to make a lot of sense, because I think as a species now we're so lost and jaded. You covered a lot of the stuff tonight, and I think that the true spirit of Christmas, perhaps, it always comes back down to the same thing, is love and communication. Wendy, you were mentioning that this is a hard Christmas for you. Yes. For personal reasons. It's a hard one for me as well, for personal reasons. There has been some death, and there certainly has been breakups of various sorts throughout the year, which kind of culminates at this time. It always culminates at this time, So I think that Christmas needs to take on maybe a slightly different meaning. I remember when my kids were very young, we used to do the whole thing of feeding the reindeer by leaving carrots out, and cookies on the table for Santa. And I used to cut out these the boot-shaped footprints out of cardboard, and then sprinkle flour around them to look like he came in, snowing, and he came down, he walked to the tree, and he left the presents, and he walked back out, and that was wonderful, because that sense of kind of vibrant enthusiasm from the kids is just something to behold. And I sometimes wonder, parents who have kids of that age, 3, 4, 5, if they really experience that excitement that I did for my children, that they're now like 26 and 27. Now, if there is that same excitement, and for Santa, and the reindeer to arrive on the roof, or in the backyard.
Absolutely agree with you, because I think it was very different for us when we were our generation. Than the generations now, very, very. And I also want to say thank you for the lovely compliment you gave me, which you said, I like your hair, you're growing it out. And I am growing it. You're absolutely right. I am growing it.
You look beautiful. You've always looked beautiful, but I like your hair because it's a bit longer and a bit bigger, which is it really suits you.
But thank you. Yes, it is going to be a very hard Christmas this year.
Thank you, Niall. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, you just keep growing your beard. Don't worry about that. Just keep.
I'm going to compensate and start growing that out.
Twirling the mustache, and
Yeah.
amazing. He always did. Like, literally, both of us threw ourselves together this evening because we both had a busy day today. And it's so nice to see you on the show, Niall, because it's been a while since you've joined Robertson. So it's really
Great to
nice
have you.
to see you on here.
Well, I've been active on Scottish other shows.
Yes.
I saw.
And
His
it was
other show.
and it was kind of ironic. I was just dialing in. I said I'll hop on and say hello to Wendy tonight, and I think you were in the middle of talking to somebody. You were talking about something about trans, and it was really funny because the last two conversations were all about trans. On Scotty's other show. So I didn't know what you were talking about, by the way. But I just got, he's talking about a trans person.
We have to see you on Wicked Women now. I haven't seen you on there, so you have to come over and join us on a Sunday at 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Well, I would hope so, Wendy. Because nice people. Kind of go back a long way with Scotty. Some of it is tumultuous as it would be. We have always been friends, even though we hold very different views about many different things. But that's not important. The important thing is I always mean to come on, but again, the timing is difficult. This is perfect for me, but for some reason this show always skips me by. I didn't even really realize it was season 2. I think there was a long gap between season 1 and season 2. I'm not sure.
There was.
Yeah. So I mean, this is perfect. This is perfect timing for me because the other show is like 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning for you. For Wendy too. So
but my show is on at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, so that should be a good time for you because you and I are on the same time zone.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, leave something somewhere where I can find it.
It'll be on my page, and it's nice to be back with Scotty because we went for a long time, and we want not always Robertson. As Scotty and I said, is going to be upbeat and jolly and everything. Sometimes you have to tackle subjects that people are going through right now in their life, and you have to be on that level. And it's like not all of us are happy. Not all we're putting on a good face or trying to keep our chin up, but inside we're feeling as miserable as hell. And it's like it's all very well saying keep positive and keep your vibe up and all this stuff, which I've done for years and years. But sometimes some things come along in your life, especially at difficult years, and you just can't. You just can't anymore. And it's like it's going to take time to heal and to rebuild yourself again. And certainly, belief in stuff is it's an individual thing, isn't it? What I used to once believe in, I remember when Henry died, and I said, where am I sending him? Because I used to believe in where I was sending him, but now I'm not sure. And that's something that haunts me every day. And people can say anything they like and they mean well by it, but you have to believe it. And it's the same with Christmas. Why should you be happy just for that one day a year and because everything's on and everyone's doing this? If your life is really difficult and you are suffering and you are unwell or money is tight or you're alone or you're unhappy, it's a very difficult day for people to. What if your relationship is breaking down and you've got kids and you've got to put on a good image that you've got to put out? It's really difficult, Christmas. It can be such a tough time.
It is.
Yeah. And I think that was, I didn't mean to set the tone as a kind of a melancholic one.
Oh, no.
But I do think that it's changed. I think it's changed forever. How Christmas will be perceived. Generations going forward, hopefully we can recover that innocent magic. I think I was talking about the end of innocence, the innocent magic I was talking about with the carrots and the cookies and the snow and on the carpet and all the kind of stuff. But somehow I think that kids are just too cute now. They're just too. They're not really going to swallow it.
It's really frustrating now when kids give you a list of what they want. I mean, we all did that as kids, but as adults, should we not? Like, I remember, over the years, people say, what do you want for Christmas? Tell me what you want for Christmas. Give me a list. I don't want to give you a list. I want you to go. If you want to get me a present, I want you to go out and take the time to find something that I might like, that you think I might like, and surprise me, because it's all about the thought behind the gift, not about, oh, I wanted that, oh, I wanted this. And people don't do that anymore. People's like, just tell me what you want. I want money, I want this, I want that. We've lost something.
And just before I go, Scott, because I know you want to,
Yes.
you want to finish up in a second.
I got to wrap. Yeah,
But
sorry to say.
But you two, you said to Wendy, "What would you like for Christmas?" And Wendy said to you, "What would you like for Christmas?" And you were both struggling with the answer to that. And the answer to that is impossible to say. It really depends on who's asking it,
Right.
and for the reasons they're asking.
Context.
And sometimes the answer is, "I want you," or I want that person, or I want this experience, or whatever it is. It's not a thing or whatever. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. Wendy, I would love to join your show because, to be honest with you, it's very often I get sick of these Americans, I really do sometimes. And I mean that in the best possible way, Scotty, you know that.
I do.
You can come on in you like, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I have Irish blood in me myself. So listen, 10 o'clock Sunday night, I'll tag you in the link for Wicked Women. Please come on and join us.
No problem. All right, Scotty, let you go.
Niall,
take care.
See you. Merry Christmas.
We'll
see you later.
Merry
Look
Christmas.
after yourself.
And we've got Michael in the wings, but I have got to go. Michael, we'll have to get you next time. Sorry to say. And I've got to fly, Wendy. Otherwise,
you gotta fly like Santa.
What's that?
You gotta fly like Santa.
That's right, like Santa. So, yeah, I do have to get out of here. It is 5:30, and I have kids to tend to, and a wife to tend to, a family to tend to, and that's what makes us. If we were able to do this show at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, I could stay up a little more. But now I gotta bid my farewell and exit stage right.
Well, we have to wish. What was that famous book, The Night Before Christmas? And it says, to all a good Christmas. I wish everyone a very happy, peaceful, contented Christmas in whatever they do and wherever they are, and may it be a healthy and safe one too. Very important.
Yes. And might I say the same? We'll see you again the day after Christmas on this show. I will see you on Intrepid Radio Wednesday and Friday night, and possibly Sunday morning. We'll see how the weekend goes. So 3 more shows on Intrepid before the holiday. So all of you have a good night. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Thanks for being part of what we're doing.
Just want
Those of you who tried to call in and I couldn't bring you in, sorry about that. We'll get you next time. But you're regulars. You know what it's like around here sometimes.
You've got 3 shows, Wednesday and Friday, and Intrepid. And I always watch the rerun of that anyway. And then Sunday at 10 o'clock UK time and 5 o'clock, no, 3 o'clock Mountain time, 4 o'clock, I think it's ET, is it? And 5 o'clock CT. I might have got that wrong. Wicked Women will have the Christmas Eve special edition of our show, and Scotty and I will be back on Boxing Day with our show. So it's gonna be a good Christmas because then
1 week from today. All right. And on that note, everybody have a wonderful Christmas. Build your memories, build on what you have, but make new. And let your heart shine about it. What a corny thing to say, but what a real thing to say. So all of you, and Wendy, good to have you. See you later. I love you as always. And we'll talk soon. All right, everybody. We're out. Let's go out on our little theme song, which isn't necessarily Christmassy, but you can put Christmas words to it if you'd like. So good night.